of it, but this is the deeper playthrough that Dan was talking about. But one of the things I love about this is the fact that it's located underwater. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider has full 360-degree movement. In Rise of the Tomb Raider, you kind of paddled around the surface, and fans said, bring back swimming. We want to go underwater. That's a hallmark of the franchise. And we said, all right, be careful what you wish for, because we're going to give you underwater survival. You've got moray eels, you've got piranhas, you have to manage your oxygen. It's all very fast-paced. It's not meant to be a clunky, slow exploration. But the idea is that Lara is going into these unfamiliar territories. You have to make your way through very, very narrow crevasses, like down dark tunnels. You don't know what's waiting for you. You don't know if there's a treasure there, a challenge tomb, or you're just going to run out of oxygen. So we add that element of exploration. And in this case, if you have upgraded Lara's breath enough, she can make it all the way to this challenge tomb. Without that skill upgrade, you'd never be able to hold your breath long enough to find this challenge tomb.
And she's got a sweet outfit too.
That's funny enough, because for the underwater thing is that because people were not used to do that when they start playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so they went underwater and there were signs of challenge tomb, but they were all turning back because they were afraid of missing, some oxygen. So it was a very interesting dynamic, and seeing that was for us was like, yes, we got it. People are afraid.
Also,
yeah.
we can't talk about a shadow without the lighting aspect. And for us, building Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we said, okay, we need to invest in our lighting technology. So we pushed a lot to make sure that we can bring the most immersive environment as possible. So you can see how lighting is something that talks through the screen, and also underwater, there's everything is handcrafted to make sure that we have a very, very immersive environment.
Yeah, and Andrea, you mentioned the outfit, that you like that. One of the things that is really actually quite important about this is that it is showing the culture of Paititi accepting Lara. Because at first, much like the jungle, Paititi is pushing back against Lara. They don't recognize her as someone coming to try and help. They recognize her as a threat from the outside world. And eventually, through her actions and through her friendships with people and interacting with them in a meaningful, positive way, they begin to trust her and welcome her into the culture and give her, the garb that sort of allows her to move freely throughout there. And I think that's sort of like an example of how we treat the world in general. Paititi eventually will accept you if you're doing the right things, and it recognizes you're trying to help. The jungle, when you first start, is a very dark and foreboding place. And then as you progress and as Lara becomes one with the jungle, as we say, it actually opens up. It becomes lighter, because it is a symbol of the world saying, all right, Lara is fitting into it. It is becoming one with the jungle. Of course, that gives you a lot of great combat advantages, but it's also a measure of that respect that the world is kind of giving Lara.
And from a narrative standpoint, also, what's important about Paititi is that it's also a pivotal point for her as she's growing into her role. And this is a pivotal point. Her relationship with that city will actually change her, and you'll feel that as you're going to play the game, that there's emotional evolution for her when she goes there, because she's seeing how these people are living. They see how they're accepting her, because the dress that she wears right now, it's an Incan dress. It's part of the rebel group. She's a part of the rebel group helping against the cult of Kukulkan, of course. We like to do a joke about that, because there's one of the video, the merchant is saying that. It's funny for us because we've been hearing it 10,000 times, but that's what it is exactly. So she's going against this cult, this tyrannical cult, and they helping each other. And that's what the thing about that is, that her relationship with this rebel, with these people, actually is transforming her and helps her from when you play the game the first hour, and then you go in there and you finish playing that part, especially the part that you're seeing, and later on you see that she's actually growing emotionally, and that's very rewarding for those who really care and love Lara. You see that, you see more a human side of her evolving. It's very rewarding.
Yes, and one of the things at the end of that video, that was what Dan was talking about earlier, about it starting to get really interesting. You notice that as Lara was interacting